All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, everybody, and welcome to Smartsheet's Asia Pacific user group. Really excited to share some insights today, and we have a great lineup for you. So appreciate your time as always. And we'll kick things off and give some time for people to check in, and we'll introduce today's panelists. So just a quick legal slide for our best practices, and we'll move on. And so my name is Tinny, and really pleased to meet everybody today. I will be your host, and we have Rick here, who is from 57Network, one of our partners at Smartsheet, and he will be co-hosting. We do have a great list of panelists for you today, Jeremy, Chia, and Edward Carr from CKP Partners, who will be speaking today and sharing their insights with everybody. In terms of logistics and questions, we do have the team from Smartsheet in the chat. So we've got Ani, we've got Vivian and Michelle, who will be monitoring the chat. And if you have any questions, feel free to ping them into the chat and we'll get to them in the open Q&A sessions. So while people are still checking in, we just wanted to go over a quick agenda of today's session. So obviously I will be welcoming everybody and the panelists. We'll then move on to the live business insights, which will be a list of questions that we have prepared for the panel, specifically to Jeremy and Edward, just to discuss how they've actually been unlocked and empowered by using technology. We'll then open up the floor to Q&A. So any questions that people have raised around Smartsheet or even the business and CKP, we'll be open to kind of discuss that as well with everybody. And if you want to unmute yourself and actually ask the question as well, feel free to. We'll then move to some closing remarks from Rick at 57Network, and we'll finalize the user group session and today's call. So that is the agenda. Just some housekeeping rules in terms of how to submit questions. If you do have a question for the panel, please make sure to use the Q&A tab. Chat is really to kind of connect with your peers and ask questions here and there. And for the live Q&A session, we do have the raise hand function, which will be your opportunity to kind of unmute yourself and also ask questions to the panel as well and be interactive. So some rules around there. Great. Well, hopefully everybody is getting settled in, and I'll just do a quick round of introductions. I'll kick things off. So my name is Tinny. I'm part of the Smartsheet new business team here, and I've been in the business for 2.5 years now. My role is really to look across our accounts and customers in Asia Pacific, and I'm really excited to share some passions and learn how customers empower their business. I'll pass on to Rick for a quick introduction of himself, and then Jeremy and Edward as well.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Rick. I'm the founder of 57Network Consultancy, and we are Smartsheet distributor. So, our vision is to transform culture, and we want to empower team achievement for organizational success and unleash the best you, because you are the greatest asset of your company. You matters and your work matters. Yep. Back to you.
Great. Thanks, Rick. We'll go with Jeremy. Let's have a quick introduction.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jeremy here. So I'm the co-founders of Chia Partners and also a CKP, we call it, platforms. So myself is a chartered accountant, and I have been in both public practice as well as commercials for more than 12 years. And this is the 7 years of our firms. And our vision is really empower the business owner so that they can have the financial insight to grow their business, right? That's a little bit more about myself. Thank you. Next, Edward.
Oh, hi, I'm Edward. I am a co-founder and partner in CKP. So we are an accounting firm based in Malaysia, but serving across whole Asia, particularly in Southeast Asia. So my experience actually is quite similar to Jeremy. I have been practice and as a chartered accountant for more than 12 years. So happy to be featured here. Yeah, thanks.
Great. Thank you so much, everybody, for that. And really pleased to have both of you on board for speaking and sharing your insights today. So really thank you for your time. And look, I think the technology space is ever changing and ever evolving. And I think the first question that I'd like to open up with is, what was your vision in starting this firm? And, what's the story of CKP, and why did you choose this industry to actually start a practice?
Sure. Tini, maybe I can start first. Right. So myself started off as an auditor back then in the mid-tier size firms, right? So of course, throughout my career, I really see like a lot of processes in the companies, and of course, subsequently, I moved on to commercials, whereby I act as a tax accountant. And of course, I have a lot of friends who actually work as an accountant as well, but most of them are in multinational companies, or some of them even want to work in overseas. And of course, I also do have a lot of friends actually, they are started up their own business. And, when you grow older and you make more friends, and you are an accountant, and a lot of times when it comes to the conversations, we notice that the SME, the small and medium enterprise in Malaysia, actually, they're really having a difficulties of hiring a qualified accountants to really help them to grow their business. And having said that, the accountants kind of concept in Malaysia also for a lot of small and medium enterprises, that bookkeeper is equivalent as accountant for them. So they think that accountant job is doing data entry, and this is a very serious misconception, right? So having the dreams that, we think that accountant should play a more active role, especially if we are going to serve as a public practice accountant. I think that our role is really to help the clients to grow their business, so that, they can really hire more talents and really grow the economy of the countries as well. That is a bigger picture that we see ourselves as accountants, right? So of course, with our exposure in the multinational companies, and we really see how technology has changed the way they do business. For instance, I was back then in shared service in Malaysia, but I was in charge for the reporting for a country in both Norway and Denmark. And when my tenure in this multinational company, then I asked myself a question: how can we do the same for the small and medium enterprise in Malaysia? Right? It's really started with these questions. And we think that if the big giant companies, that can do this, definitely this is possible for the SME in Malaysia as well, So at the end of the day, myself and I work with meetups, and we think that, we want to empower the entrepreneur and business owner with the financial insight of their business, as well as with the latest technology, so that they're able to make timely decisions and to grow the business to the way they want it, And this is how actually we started off our firms, and with these very simple visions, actually, right? So maybe I would want to share some story about ourselves.
Yeah. So like what Jeremy mentioned, actually we believe every business owner deserve to have qualified accountants to actually advise them on their financials, data, right? So we still remember our very first client actually from UK, although we are based in Malaysia. So the UK client actually, they have a business in Malaysia. So we are serving them, at that time using a cloud accounting software called QuickBooks. Back in 2015, year 2015. So at that time, cloud software are pretty new, especially in Malaysia. So we are lucky to actually get involved in cloud software, and we can actually see how powerful is a cloud technology to actually serve our clients or actually improve our services in this industry. And this is how we started. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing those insights. I definitely find that very interesting, because the the message that I hear here is looking to unlock the potential of other smaller businesses through financial guidance and consulting. And obviously, being small businesses and growing as an entrepreneur, it's not easy, and it comes with an array of challenges, not just in finance, but also with other factors as well. And as we all know, COVID was a huge challenge to everybody across the world. And that kind of leads on to my next question is, when you started this, investment in CKP and having more clients, you're growing, but you run into this, era of having pandemics and, lockdowns. What were some of the initial challenges that you ran into in that regard? It could be, client related or growth related, but really keen to hear some thoughts on what the challenges were.
Yeah, so of course, we like to ask ourselves questions. And I think myself and Edward have these conversations, like how big we want to grow our teams, right? And what is our capability over here, and what is the really challenge that's stopping us from growing? And I think for a lot of business owner, you can be in the accounting industry or you are running an engineering firm, doesn't matter, or even can be in tradings. I think the real challenge is really like, you have to ask yourself, what is the most important resources that you need to be in control? And for myself and Everett, we got our answer is definitely our time. We ask ourselves, how can we spend 20% of our efforts and getting 80% of the results? And we ask these questions. And I think whether the company will success or fail, it pretty much depends on how the co-founders make use of their time. And from there, we noticed that we spend a lot of time in coordinating with our staff. When you have more staff, you get worried because the overhead is fixed. You have to pay 50,000, 60,000 of salary on a monthly basis. And you get nervous when you see that the productivity is not up, and the collection is slow, for example, right? You kind of like, what's wrong, man? Okay, so that is really the obstacle for us. Is like, what's went wrong, and how can we well spend our time so that we can really create results, which is very important, right? So that's why I think initially when we want to like scale our business, this is really the challenge. Where our time goes, why I'm so busy every day, but the result seems not improving. And I think this is the question that a lot of entrepreneurs are asking actually. Yeah, so I would say that is my observations when we just started, really where our time goes, and the result is not there. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe to add on, like, that was the challenges that we have, especially during the, initial stage of the COVID, and all this MCO happening in Malaysia. So actually, every one of us actually got locked down, and some of our staff, actually most of our staff, are actually working remotely. So luckily, we have implemented a cloud software implementation and also Smartsheet as a tool to manage our productivity. So like what Jeremy mentioned, 20% of our time actually is looking or actually monitoring through Smartsheet dashboard, and how we actually can monitor the progress of each of everyone remotely. Yeah. So this is luckily this is the step that we implemented in our operations. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing. And I think, Rick, you also want to share some insights from your perspective, also being a small business owner and a co-founder of a 57Network. Are those some of the reasons for why you started your business, and are those some of the challenges that you ran into as well? Do you want to share?
Yes, thank you. Yes, and we believe to transform culture in terms of empower team achievement and for organizational success and unleash the best team. Like, everyone is the assets in the company. We believe that everyone's matter and your work matters. For many years, I have been wondering why everyone has to travel to work in a physical building and then get stuck in a heavy traffic jam daily. So yeah, I was wondering, what if majority of the knowledge workers are able to work from home, work from anywhere without compromising their productivities and efficiency, right? So yeah, about 10 years ago, I was very depressed because for many failures in life and career. So deep down in my heart, I seek the guidance from above. So I was asking, I was asking Jesus about my life destiny. So, and I hear a still small voice in my heart to say, just focus on technology. And I drop all kinds of other works and focus on seeking the technology that I'm supposed to focus, right? So I still do not know which technology I should focus. Then one day, my mentor, who is a property developer, so he was asking me to try out a software called Smartsheet. So initially, I thought this is just another so-called another spreadsheet with smart feature, or some people said a spreadsheet with a steroid. So yeah, after we spent some time to learn with Smartsheet team at Seattle office in 2018, and we realized that it's kind of like a very cool and effective tool to get everyone collaborate to achieve work execution for career and customer success. So we then realized this is very powerful all-in-one work management platform that for everyone in the team. So that everyone will have this real-time visibility on key performance metrics. Wow, boss will like this, right? Manager will like this, right? So that, and also everyone is being engaged in to take right action at the right time, right? And make better decisions faster so that everyone deliver at scale, and most important, without spending time to read email and a lot of meetings, right? So we believe that teams want to have clarity into the work getting done, and we believe that the company cultures can be transformed into a very high engaged workforce, so that there's a greater ownership, transparency, and together everyone can achieve more. This is what we believe, and these are the motivation for us to bring Smartsheet to a lot of business leaders for greater leadership efficacy. So today we are Smartsheet distributor with partners in Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Yep, back to you, Tini.
Great, thank you for sharing that, Rick. And I think that definitely resonates with myself and a lot of the clients that I speak to day in, day out. And I think the common theme that I'm hearing from both, CKP and 57Network is visibility, control, efficiency, and productivity. And that really can apply to every industry, large or small business. And these are some of the common challenges that we see today, and particularly because the way that the world works today is so much more agile and dynamic than it was 10, 20 years ago, when internet was just being introduced and collaboration was still on paper and traditional. So now we've definitely evolved, and there is an industry demand from both leadership, but also at different levels in management to actually have this sort of information within your fingertips to be proactive. So I think that is really interesting, and definitely resonate and agree with that point. So thanks for sharing, everybody. I think that's a good pathway to lead us into the next question addressed to Jeremy and Edward is, based on these challenges that you faced with growth pains, how has Smartsheet and technology kind of transformed the way that you're doing work? And what was some of the particular solutions that you ended up implementing at CKP to help you with this?
Sure. Edward, you want to start first?
Oh, yeah. If let's say the features or the function that Smartsheet that we have implemented, firstly is the staff planning workflow. Is that, in our accounting practice, right? Every month before the month end, we will have staff planning so that we can set the target and also deliverables and tasks for our all team members. So before we are using Smartsheet, we were using like Excel, everything so manual, and everyone have their own copies of Excel. So we actually use a Smartsheet, a worksheet, to actually monitor this. We combine everyone's tasks and deliverables for the particular month in worksheet. And then we set automations to actually allow each of every task after completed the first step, what will be the next person to take on, and will be notified using the automations set in Smartsheets. So I believe this is a major change in our practice, where everyone no longer using Excel, no longer like communicate using emails, everyone using Smartsheets as a single point of so-called platform, that everyone can put in their comments, their remarks, any challenges they face on each individual portfolio, task, on deliverables, so that we can monitor, day in and day out. Yeah. So this is one of the key features so that we have implemented so far. Yeah.
So myself and Edward give this dashboard a name. We call it our command center. So in the sense that exactly where is your army and what they are busy with, and they have their so-called reaching the so-called target that you have set for the months in terms of productivity, in terms of deadlines. And with this kind of visibility, right? Since we have been using Smartsheet for like almost 2 years now, going to 3 years, and it really gives a very good insight. And I can tell you that we are very clear amongst our team who is the one always have difficulties in deliverables, and then who is the one always okay. You don't need to closely monitor them. They will just get things done on time, submitted on time. Everything is traceable. And when you know that certain team members is not really performing, this is where you can really drill down and try and understand from them actually what kind of issue that they have actually encountered. And without this kind of quality information and data, right, you will not able to initiate a very constructive conversations, right? You will just get worried for nothing, and it will just maybe end up, scolding everyone. Okay, but actually, it's not the fault of everyone, but just a certain group of people that they really need help on that. So I think fundamentally, it has changed the way how we communicated with our teams, how we really monitor the deadlines, and for us as employers, as a so-called the leaders and the boss, and everything is in our fingertips. We can exactly tell you what is the things that lagging behind, what are the job that already in risk that the managers have to step in, and this is really awesome, for us personally. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing. And I think that is a good segue to mention something that Rick actually mentioned before is, employees are our greatest asset. And that is a quote from Richard Branson himself. And we all know that it's so important and essential to build our talent and staff so that we retain them, especially in times of uncertainty like now, where good talent is very hard to come by, and they are really the people that will drive change in your business, and to empower them and to motivate them. So I think the question here is, upon adopting technology platforms like Smartsheet, how would you describe your workplace culture now, given you have some change, you have more clarity, and how has that impacted your people and their experience?
Yeah, in CKP, we practice an open and goal-oriented workplace culture. As you mentioned, everything are transparent, especially after using Smartsheets. So everyone knows their target, everyone knows the result, everyone knows their progress. There's no hidden agenda in our day-to-day operation. So we always encourage, we always can initiate constructive communication in how to improving our existing processes, because we understand that nothing is perfect or is is unchangeable. So as long as you have better suggestions, we are always open to listen and to seek for better process improvement in our operations. And not to mention, most of our employees actually are below 30s that we are hiring. So actually we are very surprised on some of the ideas or some of the opinions that they are giving, and actually are practical, and most importantly is creative, in actually motivating everyone to work more efficiently and more productively. Yeah. So yeah, this is one of the culture that we're trying to implement here in CKP.
Yeah.
Jamie.
So to add on to Edward, I would say, in terms of the work culture is really like what Ed mentions is we are very goal oriented, and actually we practicing this open book management. Our figures in terms of revenue is openly known by all our employees. They know what is the targeted billing, in terms of revenue for the months, and for each individual, what is their target as well in terms of productivity for that particular month as well, So with this kind of culture, this kind of transparency, we also actually promoting intrapreneurships. We keep mentioning to our employees, you are not just employees, we're actually working as a business partners, right? So this is where you can really grow and become our partners eventually, okay? If you think that this is your long-term career growth. And I think we have to agree that, a lot of our talents is actually born in 90s or year 2000 and onwards, right? So the set of so-called the value is quite different as compared with us, those born in 70s or even 80s. I'm not sure you agree with me or not. Okay, but I can say that, for the past, we talk about, you must work hard, you must be determined, you must be persistent, right? So, but nowadays, the younger talents, they will say, if we have a smarter way to do things, why do we want to work, the other way around, whereby it's more time consuming? And of course, they will tell you they want to have a work-life balance. And of course, they want to have the financial rewards. The best, less input, more output. Okay, means what? I spend the same time, I can go at 5:30, but I want my pay or my financial rewards can be more as compared to my peers, right? And then, of course, you cannot go against the flow, because when the whole generation is thinking in this way, you have to adapt. And having really thanks to Smartsheets, because we're able to implement this transparency, we are promoting these entrepreneurships. And I can share with you some examples, right? We have some talents that join us, they can't fit into our culture. The productivity is very low. But with the quality data that we pull out from the Smartsheets, actually we have this performance appraiser. We share with these talents that, what is her performance, and we go and justify why you are not getting your promotions, why you're not getting the increments, because you're not performing as your peers, And I think the talents really accepted it willingly, because that is a fact. And of course, eventually she left us. It's sad, But of course, I think for us, it's very important also that we remain, we need to maintain a good apple. Of course, then we need to so-called make sure that we leave the bad apple as well. And of course, this is a sad case that we have. But of course, we have a good case that we want to mention as well. For the past 2 years, pandemics is hitting everywhere. All the businesses are affected. A lot of people getting pay cuts, no increments. And of course, thanks to Smartsheet as well, and with the things that we implemented, I think we have some of our employees actually getting 7 months of bonus. 7 months of bonus. Okay. Because of her hard work, because of the way she does things to achieve the result, and she utilize the technology, okay, so that we try to empower them. So I think that's really fundamentally changed the way we manage our firms. And at the end of the day, I think it's very important that your employees or your talents brag about your companies. And lately we have a new joiner. He really, tell us that she feels so proud of joining us, because when she worked with her friends who are working in other, companies, he realized that, the way he do things over here is much more advanced in terms of leveraging the technology instead of, still using the normal Excel sheets, right? And he really bragged about the companies and how we do things over here. And I think that is really, really important if we want to attract talents, especially for us, which is smaller firms as compared with the big guys, right? Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing that. I find that really interesting, because I think, in this day and age, transparency is really king. And you mentioned a good point where, everybody's accountable for their job, no matter if you're a leader, if you're a manager, if you're an individual contributor. It is really important to take ownership of that accountability. And I think as human beings, the psychological aspect of us would want to have the opportunity to engage with leadership and be transparent. And having the opportunity to do that, like what you've done to enable your people, I find really motivating, because it just makes people feel welcomed. And ultimately, I think the business place can be quite intimidating sometimes, but at the same time, you should feel like you belong as like a big family, and you're reaching towards the same goals from a strategic objective. So I think that is a really good point, and I'm really happy to hear that change has been made and there has been value brought back to the business. So thank you for sharing that. You mentioned before that a lot of your standard operating procedures before you onboarded Smartsheet was quite kind of different, and with the introduction of technology, it's kind of changed. You mentioned also that your people are goal orientated. What are some of the main KPIs that are important to CKP from a goal perspective? Is it revenue? Is it number of customers? What are some of the KPIs that are important and you currently track today to inspire your people?
Yep. Edward?
Yeah, so one of the key KPI, I think in our practice is that it's always the revenue, the productivity of each client. And as you mentioned, the fees we charge to our clients are all transparent. So everyone knows that exactly how much portfolio in terms of the fees that we are going to charge on each client. So this is one of the key KPI. So that we actually allocate the portfolio using this KPI. So we can balance out the portfolio so that no one over stressed or over under allocated. This is one KPI. Another one is the response time to clients' queries. So right now we are using a lot of communication tools. One is Smartsheet, another one is WhatsApp group chat, and all this we are tracking the response time. Let's say there are some queries from customers or clients on certain particular maybe text questions or accounting questions. So our KPI is that we need to reply within 15 minutes. So this is also one of the KPIs when we assess the performance half yearly. All right. So yeah, so these two are one key KPIs that we are having to improve our client relationships. Yeah. So there are a few more. Maybe Jerry, you want to elaborate further?
Yeah, I think the other things which is very important for us, whether you like it or not, bookkeeping work sometimes can be very boring, but it's a very important task that we must do it correctly, so that we're reporting the accurate and correct figures for our clients. Because after 7 years in the business, a lot of our clients is actually growing, and some of them is actually at the stage of pursuing this equity crowdfunding, or even that they are bringing in the angel investor, right? So that we really need to make sure that the data that we provide is very quality. So and when you want to make sure that your team is performing the job, you have to make sure that you delegate and you supervise, right? So, and I think delegation is very important, because if you're not able to delegate your tasks to your employees or talents, then you always get stuck in the sense that you seem to be the one who only know how to do the job. So with Smartsheets, actually we incorporate the SOP whereby all the talents will know exactly what are the processes, and they have to go through the checklist to ensure they have to do all the single steps, and with the supporting, of course. And delegations, this is the part. And of course, then next we get the managers to actually supervise, to make sure that the checklist is being done on timely manner and is in compliance as well, right? So then we can ensure really the productivities and also the quality of the services, which is both equivalent important for us. Okay, So, and at the end of the day, we also benchmark our firms with Australia's CPA firms, for examples. We attended the Zero conference back then in Brisbane in 2019. So we are quite amazed that, developed countries such as UK, Australia, New Zealand, even Canada, right? One accountant can actually serve 10 to 15 clients. And this is where, we benchmark with Malaysian market and we ask ourselves questions. How can we do that as well? And I think thanks to the quality data that we really pick up from Smartsheets, it can allow us to do a lot of meaningful analysis. And I think we are moving toward this direction as well. Yeah, that is pretty much my add-on, Trini.
Great, thank you. And look, I think that's really great that you know what the objectives are and they're very clear from what it sounds like. So you definitely have visibility. And I think, in terms of relaying that message to your staff, and that's having the sense of control as well. And you can look forward and be proactive, which is really great to hear. Now, looking into the future as well, what are some of the future goals or strategic objectives that you've set your business for maybe the next 2 to 5 years? And how do you think technology will contribute to that? Because ultimately, businesses will need to grow year on year. And as businesses grow, you have more clients, you perhaps hire more people, and you get to that next level of scalability and growth. So what are some of your plans to get there? And how does technology play a part in that?
Okay, sure. So we have ambitious dreams. Having said that, we would like to transform how the things being done in the accounting industry for Malaysia typically. So we ask ourselves questions. If today we can go 100% digital, having said that, we have all our supporting documents in our cloud accounting software, for example, Xero, and then we can also use Smartsheet, actually, which is now we're doing, to share the documents that are requested by the auditors. That would be beautiful in the sense that there's no hard copy, there's no traveling needed, even the auditor want to perform the jobs, and for us to show the so-called the documents for the auditors as well. And back to the client as well, and how we manage our talents, So we think that data entry is definitely very important, but somehow rather this is a low value job, that it's not really give a lot of too much value to clients per se, right? So we're really looking forward, to leverage on AI and some technology such as OCR, that we can really push all the data via scanning and even integration between system to the accounting software, so that our talents can really perform some high value assignments such as advisory. That is what really we wish to do in the coming 2 to 3 years, 100% digital, and how we work with the auditors and how we work with our client as well, and also to uplift, the way and the value that we're going to create for our clients. We need to say, we will rather use the technology on the data entry instead of mainly using our talents, and that they can actually have a career advancement, at the end of the day, right? So I think that one will be a very significant changes. And also we are also looking at hopefully by end of 2023, we can start to go aggressive on the overseas market. Somehow rather Malaysia labor market, the pay is still much lower as compared to Singapore, Australia, and New Zealand. I speak with some of my friends, if you're working in Australia as an accountant, your take-home income at least 60 to 70,000 US dollar, Aussie dollar. If you are just a fresh graduated, if you're multiple by that, you are talking about more than 200 or 1,000. You can really hire a lot of accountants in Malaysia. So that is as part of business risk and what we learned throughout the pandemics. We should not only looking to serve Malaysian market as well. We should also looking forward to expand our services to overseas, not only to mitigate our business risk, but also provide an opportunity for the talents who work with us to have an international view. All right. That's why now currently, thanks to the technology that we have, we are serving clients from UAE, we're serving clients from Singapore, especially from Singapore, the number of clients increasing. Lately, we also have inquiry from Hong Kong and also USA as well. And I think this will be the main strategy for us for the future.
Yeah, just to add on, to summarize, is that we will be upgrading our services to more advanced, more high value in terms of the value that we're giving to clients from advisory or even some VFO services. Yeah, so we are also looking to get involved more in the client's operation, business related services. So hopefully we will get that, in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Look, they sound ambitious, but I'm full of confidence that you'll be able to achieve those goals. And international expansion is on the top of mind for a lot of businesses. Yeah. It's a great opportunity, but it does come with some risk. But that risk can be calculated risk if planned correctly. So I think, for the closeout of this panel, a bit of a question to both Rick and Jeremy and Edward, but obviously it sounds like some great work has been done by the 57Network team at CKP with Smartsheet. So I guess, Rick, knowing these future goals of, international expansion and opening opportunities to the staff, how do you envision your business helping CKP on that journey?
Yep. In terms of what is our role, in empowering CKP, I believe, and we are the technology partner to CKP. 2 years ago, we learned that the CKP's work processes are very time consuming, like what Jeremy has said, and there are lots of manual repetitive works, and that also we help the CKP to identify the challenges in the work processes that can be solved by Smartsheet, and then we do provide the custom training to get the whole team, not just few people, the whole team, to innovate the process by themselves, because this is what Smartsheet is all about, to empower everyone, right? And our trainer is also a very experienced Smartsheet practitioner and able to provide helpful insights, for CKP team to build their own solutions. So after CKP learn from the training sessions, then they, their team themselves to build a solution, tweak the solutions, and improve the way they work. And then so that we believe that the whole process is about a flexible platform designed to match the needs and adapt as those needs change. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I mean, and that sounds great. And I think no doubt you'll definitely be a huge player to enable that piece for that future growth. And I look forward to hearing the future successes that CKP has. And I wish you all the best in that journey. And that does lead to the end of our questions for the panelists. And I really want to thank Jeremy and Edward and Rick for your time and sharing your insights, how you've kind of grown your business from the ground up, your vision, and how you overcame those challenges with the growth. What you've given back to your team, I think, is also really great. And it's opened up more opportunity for you to actually expand into the future, which is really exciting to hear. So thank you again so much for your time. We now have come to the open Q&A sessions. So if anybody has raised their hand and have a question for the panelists, anybody on the team here, now is your time to unmute yourself and ask the question. So any questions from the audience? Also, if there are questions in the Q&A, maybe we can address some of those questions as well for the broader group for reference as well. So just have a quick look.
Hi there, Tinny. There's a question there from Stephen Lau. Wondering if, it says, hello, Jeremy. Could you show us how the dashboard looks like in Smartsheet, if possible? I know that it might be a little bit tricky given that there might be sensitive information, but if we can't share that live, maybe Jeremy or Edward, what does the dashboard look like? Maybe describe it if we're unable to show it live.
Okay, so maybe I will just share with you the content of dashboards. I think to share live here is a bit tough, right? Okay, but of course, my piece of advice is before you would like to create a dashboard, right? You have to understand the objective that you want to achieve. So in the initial stage, we have communicated with Rick and Vivian, the 57 network, that what we're trying to achieve. For example, we want to have visibility on the deadlines. We want to have visibility on all the tasks, and as well as the fees, you know. And also we want to have visibility that who actually is lacking behind, you know, it to be shown in the dashboard, so that we can actually intervene on timely manner. So with this kind of informations that pick up from us, and this is where Vivian's and Rick is really like help us to design the dashboard, as also the reporting sheet, so that it pick up the documents, pick up the informations, so they display in a very simplified method for us to see and to view, you know, on a timely manner. So yeah, pretty much that is the contents that normally that we need, that we communicate with them, and then for them to help us to build that solutions basically.
Yeah, maybe I can add on one of the key like dashboard key feature in the dashboard that we have is that you can relate to the Olympic, you know, like a medalist table, something like that. So it's for our own team. So every one of them, after they achieve something or achieve certain collections or productivity, you will show them. So there's like a standing, you know, first place, second place, third place. Yeah, so something like that in the dashboard that we have implemented to so-called motivate each other, you know, like, you know, so everyone can know what are they doing, you know, at this moment. Yeah.
Right. So the teams really get to see like the figures is like, you know, getting more towards the month ends and who is lacking and who is actually catching up, you know. Yeah. So it's making it fun as well.
Yes.
Right. Thanks for sharing. That's really interesting with the medal system. I think it gives some friendly competition internally, which is always welcome to motivate people.
Correct. Indeed, because of this, we actually everyone we will select the employee of the month, and we give our special incentive for them actually to motivate them. And maybe I just try to add on one thing that how we work with Rick. We also, because our client nature of our business, we also have a lot of clients, and when we also use Smartsheet as a collaboration tools between our client and ourselves to really like save a lot of our time. For example, we do help our client to do this payment management, and we actually bring in Smartsheets so that, you know, we are working on the same platforms on making payment to suppliers and set up all the processes and automations. It's really beautiful, you know. So not just about ourselves, but we try to introduce to our clients so that they also benefited it. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. Any other questions from the group? Anyone raise their hand throughout the session at all and want to share their question with us?
Hi, Tony, me again. So there was one audience member, unfortunately they have left, but has popped in a question. So I think this is more for, I suppose, Jeremy and Edward. If change didn't happen within your business, what would have been the outcome to your organization if you didn't, say, find a platform such as Smartsheet, and what would have been the risk?
Okay, you mean the risk for us?
Yep.
Okay. We are not implementing the change, right?
Oh,
yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah, I think the risk will be, you know, for us, when we run a business, the risk is always when your business is not growing. Okay. And that one is a very huge risk for us. And I think myself and Edward will not, it's not possible for us a time to really grow the business, and we'll remain small. And we basically, just a matter of time, our competitors will just, you know, outbid us per se, right? I would say those are the things that really is a risk for us. And we will not get some key clients that we have now if we are actually not so-called embark on this journey actually. Yeah. So, and I can tell you guys, like, nowadays, myself and Edward, we can have like 7 to 8 meetings in a day. And the operation is still pretty much intact. And really, this is like what we wanted, because really think that the business owner should really spend times on the important tasks, so that the firms can grow. And for number itself, we are still growing in 2021. And I think in this quarter itself, we already have achieved half of the revenue that we achieved last year. Only for 3 months, we achieved what we achieved in the past 6 months, actually. Yeah. And I think that one will not be possible without embark this journey.
Great, thanks for sharing. There's one other question, and I might just wrap up the session with this question, unless there are others. The question is, our audience today are on different stages of their journey. What is your advice to our users in order to be just as successful in the platform? So I guess people are coming from different industries, they're on different stages of change and journey. What's some guidance that you can provide to be successful in implementing technology for these people?
Correct. I think we need to start with big questions, right? I think first of all, you have to ask yourself, in order for you to achieve your next growth, you can be small now, you want to move to the next level, or now actually you are scaling, but you want to scale faster. Then from this level 1 to level 2, you have to ask yourself, what is the 20% thing that is important that you must do, which you have no time doing now, to achieve the 80% of the result? For instance, the time. You have to know where is your time is actually spent. Okay, so if really that you notice that, this is a lot of issue that we can see for a lot of business owners. They don't have time and they are so busy. Okay, but it's always a chicken and egg. If you cannot spend the times on the strategic things, you will end up get stuck in the same cycles, right? So then when it comes to Smartsheet, then you have asked yourself the questions, how Smartsheet actually can help you, okay, to develop processes that actually can reduce your time span on the things that you can delegate, so that you can focus on the strategic things. I think if you can get an answer for that, right, it will be very useful for you to build the solution that you wanted using Smartsheet. And eventually you can see that you can have a lot of time spent on the strategic things that really move your business very fast.
Thanks for sharing, Jeremy. I believe somebody may have raised their hand. Anybody else with any questions before we wrap up the session? No more questions? Okay. Okay, so I think there's no more questions for the group, which is okay. If there are any questions that the audience may think of or were interested to explore further, we do have ways to contact our team as well. So we'll definitely be watching out for that and helping you answer those questions. Rick, do you want to give some closing remarks to the panelists in our session today?
Yes, thank you, Tini. And thank you everyone for joining us this morning. I hope these sessions inspire you to empower your team achievement, and most important, unleashing the best you. As we end this session, and I would like to quote from Dr. John, the author of the Serving Leader, in his endemic leadership speech recently. I will read it out. The great temptation or test that I think we are under right now is the temptation to exercise greater control rather than great trust. Crisis has a way of shrinking our trust and imagination and innovation and growth. But the greatest principle of endemic leadership that I can recommend to you is this: let crisis grow you, embolden you, and increase the value you place in building strong teams of strong people committed to accomplish great things in the world. Thank you once again. Remember, you matter, your work matter. Back to you, Tini.
Great, I love it. Thank you for that. All right. So look, as Rick said, I really appreciate everybody's time this morning, and thank you very, very much for our panelists. Thank you so much for your time, Jeremy, Edward. Your insight has been really motivational, and hopefully the rest of the attendants feel the same way. Rick, for your time as well, and everybody on the team that's monitoring the back-end questions, but of course to the audience as well. Without you, this session would not exist. So definitely really appreciate your time, and hopefully this session had some takeaways for you today. As a follow-up, and if there is further interest to engage with Smartsheet, CKP, or even 57Network, we have a list of open methods to make contact. And if there are any questions for us, or if they want to, if there's interest to kind of work together and explore more about your industry and your challenges, then definitely happy to explore that further. But thank you very much, everybody, and I hope everybody has a great day.
Move with the rhythm, shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. You've been working, but you're flirting.